Hello, and welcome to Traditional Stitches FlossTube video number 40. I'm Janice Spencer, the owner of Traditional Stitches, and this is Rose Heck, our fearless stitch-along leader. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Janice.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excellent, actually. Thank you. I just got back on Sunday night from the Abundance of Autumn or Autumn in Abundance seminar at the Attic Needleworks in Mesa, and hung out with my needlework shop owner friends all weekend and 125 other stitching enthusiasts. So I'm on a little bit of a high from that. It was just a fantastic weekend.
Good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had mentioned that you've seen lots on social media about our weekend. So there's all kinds of videos and photos of the great fun that we had. And we had 3 projects. The first one was Paulette from Plum Street. And she's always so much fun to spend time with. The second one was Dawn Ronigan Cook, who did a reproduction housewife sewing roll. And then on Sunday morning, we had a class with Alma from Blackbird Designs. So she's a riot. We had a lot of fun there too.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I have seen some, I think through Dawn Cook Ronigan, you can actually get some different sewing rolls, but for anybody that has read her book, which I have, about the sewing rolls and housewives, it is tremendously good. So I'd recommend it to anybody that needs a good read.
Yes, absolutely. And she is starting to do some reproductions of those. We haven't picked them up in our shop yet, but I do know that you can get them from the attic. So just reach out to Jean if there's one that you're looking for there.
They're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Well, and to follow up on that trip, from my comments from our last FlossTube video, we did take a few extra days at the front end of the trip and go to Hoover Dam and the Grand Canyon. And I had asked for opinions about the helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon, and everybody said do it, but we didn't do it. We just ran out of time. So, but you know what? Opportunity to go back and do it again.
Right, right. Did you get any hiking?
We did quite a bit of hiking.
Okay.
2.5 days at the Grand Canyon, and then half a day at Sedona. And we definitely know that we need to go back and do more hiking in Sedona. It was just beautiful. And November is a fantastic time of year to go because it's not too hot. So, and it's not quite as busy as other times of year. So we really had an enjoyable but action-packed trip for sure.
Okay, so anybody that's looking to do a trip there, that would be a good time to go then, maybe.
Yes.
Good, glad to hear.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? I don't know. The days just seem to blur by, with working. I'm, still working and working at home and cross stitching and spending time with children and grandkids and hiking and walking. We're not camping anymore, so our 5th wheel is put to bed. So that's, I'm sad to say that that's gone. We got away for a long weekend out to Jasper for our anniversary. And other than we did, experience our first snow of the season, we did a lot of hiking, and we went up on the Jasper Sky Tram, and that was kind of something I hadn't done since I was a young teenager. So it was kind of on my bucket list. And I'm not as young as I used to be, nor am I as fit as I used to be. We did go hike up to the summit and beyond, and all the time regretting leaving our poles at our vehicle. But the sights were spectacular. We could just see 360 degrees all the way around. So it was gorgeous. We saw the local wildlife, lots of elk. The elk tend to inhabit the town and beyond. And we actually saw some moose, which we don't see that much, way out in a place called Moline Lake. And we saw a cow moose with her calf and a young bull moose that really didn't care less about us. So yeah, it was just a really memorable weekend, something that we really needed. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, good destination place.
I haven't been to Jasper since I was a kid, so I have to put that back on the hit list.
Yeah, it's different from Banff in that it's not as touristy, but the sights are spectacular. I think that much more spectacular than Banff. And if you're looking for a place to sightsee, to hike, there is some good eating there. There is some shopping and museums and stuff. It's a good place to go. So.
Good. Well, the other thing that happened since our last video was that I had a significant number birthday, and it happened to be on a Saturday. And on the Friday morning, I had a surprise visit from you.
Forgot about that.
With a wonderful gift package that included, among other things, bottle of wine and some cheese and crackers and goodies and a wine glass. And so I'm going to insert a picture of us that we took in the shop together here. And then I just want to show you guys the details of the project bag that Rose made for me, how thoughtful she was. So this is what it looks like. So wine bottles, types of wine. The zipper pull has 2023 on it, but also a wine glass. And then inside is material of wine corks. So just thoughtful all the way around. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciated that gift package.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If anybody would enjoy that, I know you would.
Definitely. So I don't have the bottle of wine any longer to show it off, but.
Oh, good. If you still had it, then I would worry.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So in today's video, we're going to talk about our Lucy Barber stitch along,
Yes.
the Hannah Campbell stitch along, the upcoming Ann Jonson exclusive that we'll be offering soon, a little bit of what's going on in the shop. I have a hand-dyed linen parade, and then we'll just talk about our plans for the next little bit. So on the Lucy Barber Sampler, we are going into month number 10. We are so close.
We are. I can, the saying about so close you can almost taste it. I'm just chomping up a bit to get this done, but I'm holding myself. This is the month we've all been waiting for, or dreading, depending on, which side of the coin you're on. This is the one that has the padded satin stitch flower. So this is month 10 in here. Okay. And of course, if you get proficient enough and like to have a little more practice, month 11, you get to do it again. So that is where I got on month 9. And I think I went, well, I don't know. It's getting, there we go. I think I went a little further on the border. I enjoy borders, but sometimes they get a little redundant. So I love this little deer in here. He's just so tiny and precious. So I believe when we started this, I may have posted a video or tutorial from Nicola about padded satin stitch, a satin stitch tutorial. So I have to double check that, but I
looked at it this morning.
Okay.
And so if you go to the Lucy Barber Facebook group, it is the first video that is in the featured section. And so I looked at it on a computer. I didn't look at it on my phone to see if that layout was the same, but it is there. And I watched it back today, and everything that the people need to know to tackle that information is really in that video. So I suggest that you go ahead and watch it. One of the key points of the video is to go ahead and do your cross stitch of that flower first, and then you fill in the satin stitch afterwards, and that way you don't have to count your satin stitch. It's already pretty much laid out there for you.
That's right. That's right. So I want to say it's fairly intuitive, but for all those that are not 100% sure, take your time, follow the tutorial, and if you have questions, post them on the Facebook page, and one of us will be more than glad to walk you through.
Yep. And I suggest that you go ahead and try the padded satin stitch. And even if you do it on a scrap piece of fabric before you do it on your actual sampler, go ahead and do that. But if it just is too much, then you can always fill that area in with just straight cross stitch or whatever you like as well. Like even a tent stitch in that area would be a little bit of a feature kind of a stitch if the satin stitch doesn't work. So yeah.
And some people don't like satin stitch at all for whatever reason. They know how to do it, but they just don't like the effect. Throw something else in.
Yeah. And so you and I are both doing our samplers with the SWA 100/3. And sometimes that doesn't make the same kind of satin stitch as say DMC or SWA d'Alger. So if you find that your satin stitch is looking a little bit thin or sparse, then just put in a few extra legs, even if it's not totally even or counted across. You just want that to look nice and full and lush and beautiful.
Correct, because linen, if you're using linen, tends to have thin and thick areas. It can also affect how the SWA 103 lays. And so don't be afraid to, fill in those spots that you see visually look a little thinner.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we look forward to seeing how everybody's padded satin stitch goes this month. Post your pictures in the Facebook group, and by all means, let us know if you have any questions.
You bet.
Cool. And then it's only 2 months. After this month, it's only 2 months.
I know.
And then we have Ann Jonson to look forward to, but we'll talk about her a little bit later.
Okay.
So then after Loose Barber, we have the Hannah Campbell stitch along, and that one runs from the 1st of each month. So at this point, we're halfway through. Do you know what month we're on? Do you know what number it is?
I failed to look it up. I have to admit, I'm a little disorganized this morning. I had other things on my mind, so sorry. I can look it up.
Gotta be like quick. 6 or 7, I think.
I believe it is.
And this is a densely stitched sampler. So instead of the usual 12-month stitch along time frame, we've gone to a 15-month stitch along time frame. What did you find?
I'm just trying to figure out when we started. Did I finish month 6? So are we in month 7?
Oh, that sounds right, just based on the way that the layout is.
I can show you the photo. I don't know if I don't have it. Yeah, it's going to glare too much.
Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. Okay. So we're going into should be into month 7, I think.
Down here.
Okay.
Correct. Or no, over there. Sorry, I'm in the wrong.
Okay, where it says Hannah's name.
But trust me, we are on month 7, and the way I find for anybody that's looking for it, go onto the Hannah Campbell Facebook page and type in guide in the search engine, and it'll come up. Okay, cool. So quick and easy.
Good, because I always scramble to find that, and it's never where I want it to be.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's with every one of the Facebook pages, but definitely works for Hannah Campbell. So
good.
So, have you been working on this piece?
Yes.
Okay. This morning I was thinking, I'm wondering if you're done.
No, I'm done.
That would be that. Trust me, that would be you. Okay. So that's where she is.
Oh, awesome.
So far, and I think I have most of I'm doing this with SWA 103 on 46 count, and then I'm using the SWA Surfine for the over 1. And I think so far I've been able to fill in the SWA Surfine, the over 1. I've had the colors for it. I did have one bird that is partially done in SWA 103, and I wasn't going to take it out. There's no way. So I just filled in the areas with SWA surfine that looked a little sparse. And I looked at it and I went, looks good. You know, I keep on thinking of Jean saying, you know, always forward, never backwards. It's like, yep. So.
Good. Well, the shop was closed yesterday, which was Monday, for my staff in lieu of the Remembrance Day observation. So, but I went in because I've been gone, and there is a massive box of silk thread from Access Commodities, like it takes up our whole workbench size box. So I'm hoping that those last couple colors of SWA surfine are in there.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, the gals are receiving it today and going through and filling orders. So within the next few days, we'll be chugging our way through those. They got a ton of product while I was away. We got the 2024 book of days. We got the Whitney catalogs, which I'll talk about a little bit. And what else we get? Oh, just the Primitive Punch Needle magazine for Christmas.
Oh, really?
And yeah, we got a ton of stock while I was gone. So, and they're almost right on top of it. So they did a really good job while I was away.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it was one of those weeks for sure. Oh, we got a gentle art order and yeah, lots.
Oh, Christmas came early.
Yeah. So Hannah Campbell, let me show you where I am at with her.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started on that eyelet band.
Yeah.
So,
So
my best stitching and adventure buddy Lisa came over for sleepover before I left for Arizona, and we really made some good stitching progress that night. So that's when I started those eyelets. So
she's working on it also.
She was working on something else actually that night. So
okay, so that diamond shaped the Algerian eyelets is what you've started on.
Yep, the pink band, the one that's got the 4 shades of pink in there. And so I tackled it I'm getting ahead of ourselves because it's not part of this month's project. But I would put in the middle eyelet first and just ran my thread across the back and thought I would work my way outwards. But we'll talk about that when it's that section. But what I'm finding, I am such a reward-based stitcher. So, and the eyelets and the cross stitch over 1, they just don't show as much progress as cross stitch over 2. So I make myself do a great big long strand of SWA surfine for cross stitch over 1 or a thread worth of eyelets. And then I go do some cross stitch. And then I go back and just alternate back and forth. So I'm jumping around a little bit on this sampler, but it just helps me to feel more progress more quickly if I do it that way. So.
Oh, a lot of people do it that way. From what I've read, is they are also reward stitchers. So I don't know if I really do that. I think my saying is head down, butt up. It's kind of a running saying I used to use. So if I've got something that is a little more challenging, it's like, no, just get her done. Just get her done. And, you know, you'll be happy with it being done. And then you can go back to over 2 after.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're a much more systematic stitcher than I am.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep watching for progress on that. So now let's talk about Ann Jonson. So Ann Jonson is our Hands Across the Sea traditional stitches exclusive stitch along that's going to start in 2024. And I'm going to insert a picture here so that everybody knows what we're talking about. So Ann's sampler stitch along will start just as soon as Lucy Barber is wrapped up. So that will be February 14th of 2024. And we are taking advanced orders for it now, with plans to ship the end of December, first part of January so that everybody has their kits in plenty of time for the stitch along start date. The linen, hand-dyed linen, is being done probably as we speak, and we actually have most of the silk threads in the shop already, and the DMC. So I'm confident that we're going to be ready for that time frame.
Okay.
And so maybe you saw my social media post or our newsletter from a couple of weeks ago, where I showed off the photo of our gift for this sampler.
Yes.
So the gift goes along with all advance orders for all three components of the kit: the chart, the linen, and the threads. And then we'll provide the gift at no charge while supplies last, or up to December 1st. So the gift is a custom-made thread bed made out of the fabric for the Jonson sampler, and it's made by our friend Corey. And I'm going to insert a picture here. So what we did was Nicola printed the Jonson sampler to the size. It's about roughly 6 by 12, the print. And then Corey is sewing them into thread beds for us with the quilted lining fabric and the snap closure. And it's a kind of a gift that we've never done before. And it's so it's exciting to be able to put Nicola's new printed fabric line to use. Yeah. And they're going to be
very
limited
unique
edition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't actually physically have one in my hands yet to show you, but by the time we record our next video, I should. But I also anticipate that they'll be totally sold out by that time. So catch 22, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good problem to have, I guess.
So we are encouraging people to place advanced orders for the Jonson sampler. We will still continue to have more available as time goes on. So once you see people's stitching progress, when the stitch along starts and you decide to join us, they will still be available. But we're just going to do the one print run and then she'll be gone. What else do you need to know? So advance orders, we collect your payment information when you place your order, but we don't charge until that day that your kit is actually going to go into the mail. So just to be fair, cash flow wise, I think. Orders for chart only will be outside of North America. So if you're not in Canada and you're not in the United States, they'll be shipped directly from Hands Across the Sea Samplers in the UK, because Nicola does get a better shipping rate. So we'll pass that along. The other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the supplies for this sampler. So we're offering the kits with DMC, Soie d'Alger, or 100/3. And we've had a number of requests. The Jonson sampler has a little bit of cross stitch over one, a 4-line verse, and then her information. And so we've had some requests for that color of thread in Soie Surfine, much like what we've been doing with the Campbell Sampler. So I've now added that checkbox to the Jonson page on our website. But if you've already placed your order with us and you would like us to add a spool of that color of Soie Surfine, just send us an email and we'll make a handwritten note on your paperwork about that. So go ahead and do that. And the other thing is we've had some comments that for some people's taste, the color of tabby cat linen, the muddy duck, is maybe a little bit dark. So we work really closely with these hand-dyed fabric artisans. And so we've been in touch with Michelle and asked her to do a slightly lighter version of the muddy duck for us. But some of the thread colors are light and bright and do need the contrast with a little bit darker of a linen to show. So we don't want to go too light of a fabric. So that's the plan.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Have I missed any details?
No, I
Okay.
believe that's Yeah, there was always a bit of a controversy about the linen. I think it has maybe changed a couple of times depending on, but I think you're on the right track with the colorways, and yeah, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, she's
I-
such a beautiful sampler.
Oh yeah, and yeah, bottom line, I mean, it is so gorgeous, the sampler. You can't go wrong
No.
either way.
Well, yeah, and I think that once people actually have it in their hands and they see how well it works with the thread colors, that they'll be very happy with their choice.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
and so if anybody wants to go back to, I think it was our last video, number 39, where I inserted the video of me with the model and get some close-up pictures, then just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Because when I was in the UK, I was actually able to handle the model and took a little bit of video with it. So
Okay.
yeah, so I think that's all that I had there.
Okay.
Yeah. But let us know if you have any questions. Oh, you know what? There were some questions, or there was a question on our last video about where the Jonson sampler came from originally.
Exactly, and I was going to ask you that. That was
Yeah, and so Nicola has sent me the draft pages of the write-up, and it looks like it's Northern England, but they haven't been able to pinpoint the exact Anne Jonson. And as Nicola says in her write-up, in those times, people weren't as specific about the spelling of the names as we are now. So Anne spelt Jonson without an H, but maybe it was common to use both ways. So it's been a little bit of a challenge to actually pinpoint the exact Anne Jonson.
Yeah. And I'm thinking somebody was wondering where she was from, like you said. And the name Jonson does sound Scandinavian. That is more of a Scandinavian name. But knowing the history of England, Vikings did come into northern England. They, conquered areas. Names like that have infiltrated back and forth. It could have been just a name that has come back from, those days, early in the, 1000 AD or whenever the Vikings had moved. I can't remember dates. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is you may see that name and it may not look like a British name, but obviously she is.
So that's just a teaser of the information that Nicola has put in the book.
Okay.
So you're going to have to get the book and the chart to read it all. Oh, and that's the other thing that's a little bit different this time from our other stitch alongs, and is that we're going to email everybody once their order is paid with the PDF of the central graph, so that you can work from it on your device if you like to do that. So yeah,
I've never done that.
Yeah, well, might be an interesting opportunity.
Yeah.
But so it will be after the charge goes through for your chart, and give us a business day or two to get that to you. But the supplies will take a little bit longer to get there anyways. So
I can hardly wait to get the chart to do some reading.
Yes. Now I have to write my page for the inside of the chart, and I'm suffering from some writer's block, so I'll need to figure that out.
You need some inspiration.
I do.
Yeah.
So what's going on in the shop these days? Well, our financial year end is November 30th. So that means we have to do inventory. And it is not my favorite thing to do, but it is a really good opportunity for me to put my hands on everything that's in the shop. So you got to do what you got to do. So that means that we will be closed for any in-store shopping on November 28th, 29th, and 30th. But our website will obviously still be up, and we have a gal that's dedicated to answering emails and answering phones while we're doing inventory. So go ahead and feel free to place your orders. It's just going to be a physical little bit of chaos in the actual shop for a bit. So,
Right.
yeah, but we bring in lunch and just try to make it as enjoyable as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Try to make it a glass half full kind of 3 days.
Yep. Yeah. And it leads to a lot of organization and stuff too. So it's all good. But I just work it up, one of those things in my mind that's a big deal.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyways, so while I was gone, the new Whitney Antiques book catalogs came. So this is a thing of beauty. It's hardcover, 128 pages with just fantastic photography all the way through, and also photographs all the way through, and Becky's research. So you can see that there's writing to go with every page of the book. So when I was in the UK in September, I did have a couple hours to spend with Rebecca in her gallery, and that was certainly a highlight of our trip. And so she got to talk to us a little bit about what inspired this particular exhibit and catalog. And so I'm just going to read a little bit from the inside jacket flap so that you all know a little bit of what I know. So it says that the majority of the pieces of embroidery, needlework, and wrought objects which form the subject for this catalog descended through generations of one family. These pieces were all found in a casket worked by a Quaker schoolgirl, Elizabeth Hall, between 1681 and 1685, and together with items worked by other family members, forms one of the largest extant groups of Quaker schoolgirl needlework, and I would say probably needlework in general from that time period. And then it says this collection, together with other related examples of schoolgirl needlework, are brought together in this publication, the first of 2. So there will be a second volume, and I think it's about this time next year that it should come out.
Okay.
Focused on those stitched and decorated items produced in the schoolroom from between 1650 to around 1750. So the way that I understood the story is that Elizabeth Hall worked several needlework pieces, including the casket, which is the one that is pictured on the cover. And it's the satin stitch style of casket. And then as generations of family went by, they added their pieces to the collection and the casket as well.
Really?
Yeah, so it was, and the family kept them together all of this time, and so it's a pretty special collection.
That's amazing.
The only thing I'm sad about was that the exhibit wasn't put together and on display when we were in the UK, so we didn't get to see these pieces. So for those of us that couldn't get back to see it, this catalog is an excellent resource to have.
Yeah.
And of course, Rebecca Scott is just so generous with her knowledge and has so much knowledge that the chance to read her written words about all of the research that she's done is just fantastic.
Yeah. I've got a few books of hers, and she is just a wealth of knowledge, and she's a leader in the sampler regime, I guess. So
yeah,
I can hardly wait to get my hands on mine.
Yeah, and in the footsteps of her mom, who started with all of that. So yeah, so we still have a handful of copies left. And I know that for those of you that are a little bit closer, Whitney, you can order them directly from Whitney, but they're getting to be a little bit rare. And so get it while you can, and then watch for news about volume 2 when it is ready to go as well.
Yeah. Don't sleep on it.
No.
I just about missed, so.
So what else is going on? We've had shipping notifications from Seraphim Linens, and Needle and Flax is sending us a huge order. Ooh. And Fox and Rabbit is sending us an order, which is great. And that order is going to include the different counts of the prehistoric color of linen that is called for in the new cottage garden samplings series, which we can't keep. The orders are just flooding. So Cottage Garden Samplings does series mostly every year, and there have been several of the series that I couldn't resist, and this is going to be one of them. It is called Fabulous Houses.
Yes.
And the charts should arrive to the shop, I'm thinking sometime in December. And so we'll have lots of cuts of fabric too. And it is a 12-part series, and you can choose to do them individually. And I'll insert a picture of the first chart in the series here. So you can see that it would make us a fabulous standalone design, or you can choose to stitch them all on the same piece of fabric. And all of that ordering information is on our website. We've listed it in specific counts, but if you needed a different count or a different type of fabric, just let us know and we'll organize that for you. But it looks like it's going to be a great series, so I'm excited about that. So Fox and Rabbit is doing a special dye run to make sure that the shops get that fabric to go along with the series. So that's exciting. Yeah. So speaking of hand-dyed fabric, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to just ask you about that. You're going to do the whole series, the whole house, all the houses on one piece of fabric. Is that your plan?
I think that would be the way that I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that makes the best sense to me for even thinking about display, right? Because if I was going to do them separately and wanted to hang 12 pictures straight on a wall, that would be a challenge. But then it's a little bit more condensed and
it's very pretty 12-month series. So,
and I have a number of series framed on the wall in the shop, like Little House and Country Cottage and that kind of thing, where I have done them all on the same piece of fabric and really enjoyed that. But remember a few years ago, Cottage Garden Samplings did the Songbird series?
Yes.
What kind of were the birds with, some of them had wreaths around them, and we've got 4 or 5 of those on display in the shop, and we ended up doing those as separate designs.
You did?
Yeah, but that was a series where she used a few different background colors of fabric, so that made sense then too. Yeah,
and those
but that was
pretty.
fun. Yeah, and so I've got 2 in there stitched from that Songbird series that are cross stitch over 2, and then Kathleen's got a couple on display in the shop that are cross stitch over 1, and those are gorgeous.
And people continue stitching those for, you know, they like the sayings, whether it says hope or courage or joy. Those are great. These new series, if you watch Mama Loves You GB, she is planning to also do that series. And so with you mentioning it and her mentioning it, I think it's going to be one of the most popular series in 2024.
Yeah, and it's so pretty. It should definitely be.
It is.
So all kinds of things to look forward to. 2024 is going to be a great year. So want to see some hand-dyed fabrics?
I would like to, please, and thank you.
So we got a shipment this week of 40 count R&R reproductions Brenda's Brew.
I like it.
Isn't that a great color? It seems to have more depth of color than some R&R reproductions do, so I really love it. This color is called for in the Brenda Gervais Winter Rose Manor chart that came out a couple of years ago. It does call for it in 36 count. I stitched our shop model on 40 count. And
I think mine, I think mine is on 40 count
too.
Also.
Yeah, I think so too. So if you've been waiting for this color in 36 count, but you wouldn't mind doing it on 40 count, let us know. We can change your order, or we have plenty of stock. So just new orders are welcome as well for that. But that's the only color of R&R that we've gotten in the last couple weeks. What we did get was a really big shipment from Tabby Cat. So beautiful hand-dyed linens from France.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show you a few that I chose out of our inventory just to show you. But we do have way more in stock in the shop. These just happen to be ones that I thought I'd bring in. So this is 32 count ragamuffin. And you can see, oh, what did that color just do? It's got gray with a bit of brown, which I really love that color combination, gray and brown. So that's what it looks like. And it's a little bit more of a mottled fabric. She does some that are more solidly colored, and then these ones where you can choose what area of the piece of fabric you want to highlight.
Correct.
So that's ragamuffin. And then this I've got in 32, 36, 40, and 46 count in my pile, and they are all quite similarly dyed. And this is the newer color called Squirrel Nutkin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a nice deep brown color. Here, let me show you it next to the Winter Rose Manor. So, or next to the Brenda's Brew.
Right.
So it's a little bit more golden, but yeah, nice color.
I like it.
Yeah,
It's
so
really nice.
Squirrel
Really
Nutkin.
rich.
This is 36 count bee's knees.
Okay.
36 count cat's whiskers. So this is a nice pale blue gray color of fabric. So it makes a really, really great background for like a pictorial design or a sampler. We have, we're putting it on the website today, the new Tabby Cat color called Windsor Castle coming in. And I saw that when I was in the UK last month, and it is beautiful. So that's something to look forward to. It's a much more stone gray and less of a blue gray color than this. Okay, this is the Squirrel Nutkin in 36 count.
Okay.
And Tickety Boo in 36 count. So just to show you the differences between how those colors are. So that's Tickety Boo. 40 count cat's whiskers. 40 count cockleshell. So cockleshell is a color that some people have been asking us for as a substitution for the Jonson sampler. And it is a really good samplery color, but some of the thread colors, particularly in the top section of the sampler, are a little bit light. So people are definitely welcome to choose this, but just know that you might have to tweak those thread colors a little bit, or if you like them to be subtle, then that's great too. But so this is 40 count cockleshell.
Okay.
This is 40 count just the ticket, and this piece is a little bit to the green side, but it'll show maybe a little bit better that way.
Okay. I have just the ticket beside me, so depending on the light, it can look different. I think it's just the ticket.
Yeah. This dye lot is kind of sagey and just yummy.
It does look sagey green, yeah. If I compare it, I'm always looking at your white cabinets, and it really gives it a true, yeah.
Maybe I should do it on that side then.
I don't know, but you can see the real true color. Okay. So good choice of background.
Oh, thank you. I planned it that way.
I know.
This is 40 count Tickety Boo.
Okay.
46 count bee's knees.
Okay.
46 count creme brulee. So Michelle knows that Michelle from Tabby Cat knows that I prefer my creme brulee to be a little bit lighter on the splotchiness. So this is how this piece of 46 count came out.
Okay.
So it is perfectly, beautifully useful for those that like a little bit sploochier fabric.
Yeah, it's so personal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I watched Nicola's most recent FlossTube video, I think it was, or the second most, where she is talking about using, it must be the most recent one because she was showing some fabric that she bought on her recent trip to the US and talked a little bit about her strategy on using some sploochy linens. So
Right.
Sploochy being the technical term.
Right. Okay.
And this
How do you
is
spell it?
46 count squirrel neckkin.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got a great selection of tabby cat hand-dyed linen in stock at the moment. And so the link to that section of our website that groups those all together is in the show notes below. So you can just click on that link, or it's in the new product section of our website too as a separate tab. So yeah, and so that kind of is it for what I had to show and share today. What have you got planned for the next month?
Dare you ask? I am going away today for, need to be committed sometimes. I'm going to my kids' place, and my daughter and my son-in-law are heading to Jamaica. And I'm going to be taking care of their 2 kids, 2 dogs, 1 cat, and bringing my dog and my cat. So it's going to be a busy 10 days. And we're trying to figure out what I can all take stitching wise. So we'll see what fits in my vehicle.
Yeah. Well, we were talking before we started the video about whether you wanted to take your stand or just in-hand projects or.
Yeah, personally, I will do in-hand projects if they're small, like Christmas ornaments. I don't mind that too much. But sometimes bigger, I find I can do it. My hand gets a bit tired holding it, but I make mistakes a lot easier. And I think it's just, I don't know if it's practice or I just have to be more on the ball. It has to feel intuitive, and a frame in a stand feels more intuitive than in hand. So we'll see what I end up deciding. And it really comes to after I get everything in, I'll see what I have left for room. If I don't, then the lap stand will come. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing your progress. So actually, speaking of progress, what are you working on? What have you got to show us?
Well, I've got 2 pieces that I finished.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's one. I don't know if you can see it well enough. So that's, I framed Miss Marianne Bourne's, I think last week I finished her. And then the other day I just finished the stitch along that Krista Gramer is leading, which is Florence Mary Dickinson. So I framed her. And right now my wall is kind of full, but I always have room for more because I can rearrange. I can move things. I can take them out. I have older pieces I can put downstairs, but I guess the theory is you don't always have to have everything on display. You can take things down and cover them in your closet, bring it out a year later. All of a sudden you have something new. So yeah, that's kept me busy. I have another little piece I finished for Black Sampler in November. I didn't bring it up. I'm still trying to find a small frame for that to frame it. And I'm working on a piece that was in the first red letter box, Letters from Europe box, pardon me, from Nicola Parkman. I'm working on that. So that will come along with Lucy, of course. And yeah, just kind of continue working through my whip pile. And I think I'm going to, I know this, you're probably going to think I'm nuts, but I'm going to be starting Christmas ornaments for 2024.
That is nuts.
I know it is. I know it is. I have 13 ornaments to make. I have 13 grandkids, for those that don't know. And this last year, I mean, I just worked through them and got them all done. Next year, they've all picked their own Christmas ornaments, so they're all different. So I think, and I've done it before where I've just done in 1 month, one after another, and it can be done, but you really get Christmas ornament fatigued, I guess. So I'm going to try a different strategy and see if I can do 1 or 2 a month and try to finish them as I stitch them. So
Oh,
yeah, we'll see. In theory, it sounds like a really good strategy. So see how that goes.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
keep us posted on that.
Yeah, that's right. If anybody is watching this, go ahead and make comments on this or on the Facebook page and just tell me to keep going and don't quit. Because
Well,
maybe I
we'll
need
cheer you on.
yeah, that's right. I might need that. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Well,
How about
thanks.
you? What are your plans?
Well, I get to stay put for a couple of months, so I should actually make a little bit of progress. I'm pretty much just working on Hannah Campbell right now, so I hope to have lots to show for that in the next couple of months. I don't travel again till January when I go back to the attic for Sampler Symposium.
Right.
And then Nashville Needlework Market is going to be hot on the heels. So we're already putting a little bit of strategy into getting ready for that.
Right. Wow. Yeah. 4 more months to that.
Yeah.
Where has 2023 gone? Yeah.
Crazy year, but a really good year. 2023 has been a really, really awesome year from all kinds of perspectives. So 2024 can only be better.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of traveling too this past year. You've seen lots of things, been around a lot of people, and it's probably been nice with past, COVID, getting through that. And now you've been able to get out a little more and rub shoulders a little more with friends and colleagues. And
yeah, it's been wonderful.
Good.
Yeah. All right. So we'll plan to record our next video on or about December 14th. I haven't actually looked to see what that looks like on the calendar, but we'll aim for that. And so until then, maybe see you in the shop.
You will.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Thanks, Rose. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.